So guys, what if Naruto was daughters with Sona Sitri special movie? Within Italy, a young 5-year-old blonde boy with ocean blue eyes and whiskered like birthmarks across each cheek smiles widely at the redhead man. This child is Naruto Uzumaki, son of Kushina Uzumaki, a nun, and Minato Namikaze, a priest. Sadly for the blonde child, he hasn't seen his mother nor father for 4 years due to Kushina being the nun of England Church and Minato had been transferred to another Crouch faction in New York. While Naruto's parents were alive, sadly they left early on to go different churches, leaving Naruto in the care of Kushina's brother Nagato Uzumaki. Naruto knows both parents loved him, he just wish he can see them. Naruto is wearing a black Power Rangers shirt with the white Tiger Zord. The blonde boy is wearing a green Mighty Ducks jacket. The kid is wearing blue fitted jeans and black and white sneakers. Nagato is also a priest who is loved by his neighbors, especially loved by Naruto. While he's a priest, he doesn't enjoy violence nor killing, unlike most priests, even if the person is a devil or fallen angel. Unknown to everyone, there has been an ongoing war with the three factions Devil, Angel, and Fallen Angel. During the war, both God himself and Satan were killed. With both God and Satan dead, Archangel Michael became the leader of God, but with the decrease of angels, Archangel Michael had to gain the help of humans. These humans serve the church as nuns and priests. But, also with the many death of devils, one of the Satans, Ajuka Beelzebub, formerly known as Ajuka Astaroth, is one of the 4 great Satans. He is the chief advisor for the technology department, and is the creator of the evil pieces system in the rating game. The evil pieces were made to reincarnate other beings into devils to repopulate the devils that were once lost, with Satan dead, Sirzek, Ajuka, Seraphal, and Falbium in charge of the underworld. Even though the war has stopped, fallen angels, and devils are still in conflict to this day. Nagato is a pale man at the age of 27. He has light purple eyes. Nagato has straight red hair covering his left eye. The older Uzumaki wears a long sleeve blue shirt with 10 out of 10 on the front. He wears a necklace with a silver cross in the middle of the cross as a black diamond. Nagato wears dark blue denim jeans and blue and white high-top shoes. While working at the church, Nagato dons black and white robes. Naruto stares at Nagato with his bright blue eyes, giving Nagato the infamous puppy dog-eyed look, the most deadly technique a child has. While some adults can overcome this technique, sadly for Nagato, luck isn't on his side. As Nagato tries not to fall for this deadly move, Naruto starts making whimpering sound, making himself look like an infant fox. Nagato, Oji, tell me a story please? Asked Naruto in baby-like tone. Nagato sighs, he then run his hand through his red locks. Why can't Naruto act like this around other people? Oh yeah. They make him nervous, thought Nagato. While Naruto is an energetic child who loves to be with his uncle, Naruto is actually shy with other people. Being shy doesn't just make it hard for the young blonde to make friends, but people would sometimes try avoid Naruto because of his strange whiskered birthmarks. This caused the blonde have trouble fitting in with children, not being the nicest. Would make fun of him or call him Foxboy. One of the children even tried to start a rumor that Naruto was possessed by a fox spirit. Lucky before the rumor could get out of hand, Nagato stepped up for his favorite nephew, informing everyone that Naruto is not possessed by a fox spirit. He was just simply born with those whiskers birthmark, and it was just a sick joke a child came up. It's a good thing they trust Nagato more than a child. Even after that incident, making friends was just hard for his nephew. Nagato finally gave up and runs his hand through his red locks. Alright Naruto-kun. What story do you want to hear? Asked Nagato, smiling at his nephew. Naruto then has a large grin upon his face. I want to hear the story where you, Yahiko Oji, and Konan Oba fought the fallen angels Hanzo and Danzo. Stated with a large grin on his face that might split in half if he grinned any further. Nagato groans out loud, rolling his eyes. If there was any person he could blame for telling Naruto that story, would be his best friend Yahiko. He still remembered when Yahiko told Naruto and his daughter Akiyuki, Red Snow, about his mission of fighting Hanzo and Danzo. He still cringed at the beating Yahiki got from Konan when he told Naruto and Akiyuki, may you three rest in peace, thought Nagato. The redhead man still can't believe it's been only 2 years since the death of Yahiko, Konan, and their daughter Akiyuki. He was saddened with death of his two best friends and of their daughter. To him, their time just felt wrong and way too soon. Nagato looks down at one of his precious person in the world. Naruto-kun, are you sure you want to hear the story? It's not a story to tell to a child, especially to a child right before bed. Asked Nagato with a strained smile, who obviously don't want to tell the story of the death of Danzo and Hanzo. He hoped Naruto would change his mind, but unfortunately luck again wasn't on the man's side. Naruto grins at his uncle, showing his pearly white fangs. You bet I am sure, Datbeo. I love that story, it's awesome. Yak now Nagato Oji, yelled Naruto, smiling innocently. He knew the story wasn't very child friendly, but he loved hearing the story of his late orange-haired uncle and brunette aunt. He also Love to hear the story when his uncle would kick some ass. Nagato then lets out a defeated sigh. Alright fine, I guess there's no talking you out of it, is there? Axed Nagato, but it was more of a statement. Upon smiling at Nagato, he shakes his head negatively at his uncle. Nope, said Naruto. Nagato sighs. He could almost hear his Orangenet friend snickering at him, calling him Naga-chan. Alright fine, you win Naruto-kun, said Nagato in a defeated tone. He then begins to tell his nephew the story of him, Yahiko, and Konan killed Danzo and Hanzo. Flashback. 7 years ago, Nagato, Yahiko, and Konan are at the age of 20. They have been ordered with the execution of the treacherous fallen angels Danzo, Hanzo, and their root, a group of emotionless fallen angel warriors. This might be a problem for any normal human, but not Nagato, Konan, and Yahiko. They are some of the strongest priests and nun. They are also known as Akatsuki, a 3-unit team. Their job is to protect the church and Vatican and to eliminate any fallen angel they come across. Nagato has pale white skin with straight red hair. His hair is parted so that only his right eye is covered. The young man wears a black hooded cloak with red clouds strapped to his back as a katana. The blade is crimson in color. It has a gold cross guard. On the blade it has the words "Follow within the eternal autumn flame petals" in kanji. The handle of the sword is obsidian in color with a ruby, sapphire, and emerald gem in the handle, and the pommel has the golden head of glaring fox. This is the magical sword called Kogitsune Maru, Little Fox. The sword has the power of creating foxfire that's said to burn brighter than the phoenix's own flame. The sword can even create powerful illusions that are capable of inflicting real pain, and can turn itself and wielder invisible. Underneath the cloak he wears a skin-tight armored long-sleeve shirt. In the middle is a gold cross. Nagato wears fingerless gloves. He wears black military pants, and brown boots. Nagato also has a sacred gear called Path of Legion, Gundam no Pasu. This sacred gear gives Nagato to create black rods that can disable someone, use gravity, use fire, water, wind, earth, and lightning. He can even summon giant beast. He can turn his body into a mechanical body parts capable of punching through steel and crushing someone's windpipe. He forcefully read someone's mind, and absorb magic. Konan is a relatively tall, beautiful woman with her orange-amber colored eyes, and who had straight blue hair with lavender eyeshadow, and a labrae piercing. Konan's eyelashes are shown to be a diagonal line at the bottom corner of her eyes. Konan wears a high black collar cloak with red clouds. Underneath it she wears a revealing navy blue robe, with a large hemline on the front, and exposed her arms, her back, the lateral part of her breast, and her belly, with her navel being surrounded by 4 more piercings. Instead of wearing standard shoes and leg warmers, she wore a pair of blue pants that also functioned as her shoes, with white high heels. Konan has a special magic ability called Halo of Script, Sukuriputo no _arrow. This magic allows her to control and create paper. She has even been able to create exploding paper, and holy paper. This has earned her the name Paper Angel. Yahiko had short spiky orange hair and brown eyes. Yahiko wears a long black robe with a red line running down the center with red clouds, along with armor that covered only his midsection with a pouch attached to it. Underneath the cloak he wears a high collar black short sleeve shirt. He wears black gauntlets and black fingerless gloves. He wears military gray pants. A white belt with a black cross attached to both of his sides are 4-inch long light knives laced with holy water, and he wears black boots. Strapped to his back is a Chinese Jian sword. The blade is onyx black in color. On THR blade it has the words "By the blood sea, by hatred, my bounds are unleashed from their confinement." In kanji, the crossguard is gray-blue in color. The handle is rust red with a black line coming down the middle, and pommel is gray-blue with a peel orb in the center. This sword is known as Blizzard Wrath of Devastation, Kahai no Burazado Akari. The sword was once Gong, also known as Kangui, a Chinese water god or sea monster who is often depicted in Chinese mythology, folktales, and religious stories as having red hair and the tail of a serpent or dragon. He is often seen as destructive and is blamed for various cosmic catastrophes after the continuous destruction made by Gong had turned the dragon into a sword. Just like the dragon itself, the sword can cause cosmic catastrophe attacks. If the sword wasn't powerful, Yahiko also can control holy water and create it within thin air. Lucky for the 3 best friends, finding the root fallen angels weren't too difficult. It also had led them to Paris, France, where Danzo, Hanzo, and the root were located. After finding their base, the 3 Akatsuki members had fought the 1,000 of roots, which the fighting didn't stop until 8 hours, now victorious with the ground littered with the dead bodies of the fallen angels. While Paris is known as the city of love, this part of the town has anything but love. This part of town is more of the city of death because that's what it is, bodies on bodies with the floor painted in the fallen angels' blood. Even the body parts of the fallen angels that have been separated and decapitated are now littered the floor. Yahiko lets out a loud sigh as he cuts down root member called Fu Yamanaka. Fu coughs out blood before smirking smugly even though he has a large slash across his chest with his right arm being severed. He then smugly stares at Yahiko. You might have been able to kill me, but there's no way in hell. You and your pathetic friends don't stand a chance against Danzo-sama or Hanzo-sama. Once you and your friends die, all three factions shall be under the control of Danzo-sama and Hanzo-same. Yelled Fu. Yahiko with his sword in his hand clicked his tongue in annoyance at the root member. Why can't this bastard die already, thought Yahiko. He then glares at Fu Tisk. Like that'll happen, you bastard. Just you. Both Danzo and Hanzo are going to die. Growled Yahiko, glaring at Fu with his brown eyes. Yahik lifts his hand. His hand is encased in blue-black magic sea of power. Disc of Revelation. Dangan no Umi. Keiji no Disoku. Yelled Yahiko. Water particle gather in thin air. The water particle then morph into deadly sharp disc of water. Yahiko then commands the disc of water to attack the dying Fu. The disc fly towards Fu, cutting off his head and cutting him in half. After a minute, Fu's head, torso, and legs separate in a slow motion. Yahiko watches as each body part separates each other. Yahiko looks over at Nagato, who glares at an armless Torun Aburame, another member of the Root who has a special ability of using venom. But for Nagato and Konan he wasn't a problem, since Nagato can use his Kogitsune Maru, Little Fox, to burn things from a long distance, and Konan can use her papers to explode objects. Konan glares at the glasses-wearing man. Give up and tell us what Danzo Teme and Hanzo Teme plan is. Hissed, glaring holes into Torun head. Torun spit blood at Konan, making the blood land on her face. Upon seeing the bastard spit on his friend Nagato with excellent precision, Nagato slashes at Torun at his face, but his head isn't decapitated. He has a cut by his left eye to the right side of the face. Torun Inu. Dog. Next time I'll burn your head off. Now, what is Danzo Teme and Hanzo Gomi? Trash. Plan. Demanded Nagato, pointing his sword at Torun's face. Torun, with a face void of fear, just smirks at Nagato. You think I'll betray Danzo-sama and Hanzo-sama? Then you're really a fool. Just like your slut friend, said Torun with his face laced with smugness and arrogance. Both narrow their eyes at Torun for calling Konan a slut and not telling them what they wish to know. Yahiko walks over to Nagato, Konan, and Torun. Yahiko gives Torun a devastating left hook, knocking out some of Torun's teeth and breaking the left side of his face, causing Torun to spit out his blood covered. He then glares heatedly at Torun. Don't ever call Konan-chan that again, demanded Yahiko. He turned towards his friends, ignoring the glare he's getting from Torun. Yahiko smiles at his two friends. So, you weren't able to get any information on him? Asked Yahiko as he stares at his red-haired friend. Nagato huffs sadly and shakes his head negatively with his hand resting on his hip. No, sorry Yahiko-san. This bastard is pretty loyal Hanzo Gomi and Danzo Teme. More so to Danzo Teme, said Nagato, who's annoyed at Torun for not telling him about what Danzo and Hanzo planned. Yahiko but his hand on Nagato's shoulder. Nagato turns his head, seeing Yahiko giving him a reassuring look. You should nt push yourself too much, Nagato-san. When I killed Fu, I noticed there's a marking on his tongue. Most likely it was placed by Danzo Teme to make sure even if they get captured they can't spill any secrets about him, said Yuhiki. Konan narrows her eyes at this. She then turned her gaze on Torun. Is what Yahiko-kun saying true? Demanded Konan. She creates a paper spear and pierces Torun in the stomach with it, causing Torun to grunt in pain. Torun growls in anger before nodding his head. Konan turns towards Yahiko. So, what do we do with him? Asked Konan. Yahiko sighs loudly, running his hand through his orange hair. Kill him. I have one of my water birds, Mizutori. Following ordered Yahiko. Konan nods her head, listening to her leader. Boyfriend. With a flick of a wrist, a paper flies on his head. I would say may God be with you, but your loyalties and beliefs are in a madman. Halo of script. Purifying of angel. Sukuriputo no arrow. Tenshi no joka. Whisper Konan. The paper then lightens in a blinding yellow light before Torun could scream. His body is disintegrated, leaving nothing left of the root member. With the root member dead, they turn their attention to Yahiko. So, what do we do now, Yahiko-san? Asked Nagato with his arms crossed, wondering what's the next step of their plan. He then looks towards his orange friend, who has his eyes closed and having a deep concentrated look. Yahiko opened his eyes with his brown eyes narrowing. He then lets out a loud huff. Nagato, destroy the bodies. After that, well, follow Danzo Teme and Hanzo Teme. Whatever. Those two bastards playing, we can't let them do whatever their plan is, matter what. We may not know what those bastards are up to, but it can't be good, said Yahiko. He gets a nod from Nagato. Nagato stabs his sword into the ground. Nagato's sword shines bright as the sun, shiny sunfox. Heavenly flames of Helios. Shani bai fakusu. Hariosu no ten no hano. May the Lord have mercy on your souls, whispered Nagato. In a bright light, each of the bodies are engulfed in holly yellow-white flames, burning each body to a crisp into the only thing left as their ash. After the bodies have been burned, Tgey then run following after Yahiko. The two friends then noticed Nagato's saddened face. Nagato-san, what's wrong? Asked Conan. Nagato sighs loudly. I am just tired of all these killings. I know all these kills are necessary and the fallen angels are the enemy of God. I just don't know anymore. It feels like there's a never-ending routine of killing, said Nagato with a dejected tone in his voice. Both Conan and Yahiko look at their friend with sadness in their eyes. They could understand where their friend is coming from, since sometimes it feels like no matter how many devils or fallen angels they killed, the killing never ends. Yahiko looks back at his best friend. I know how you feel, buddy, and after this missions let's retire from the Akatsuki. After all, I am pretty sure you miss your sister, huh? Nagato said, Yahiko smirking at Nagato. Nagato nods his head, smiling at the prospect spending time with his sister. He honestly wonder Kushina is up to. Right, let's finish this mission and send both Danzo Teme to hell. Yahiko-san, Conan-chan, said a grinning Nagato. Conan and Yahiko look at Nagato with their own grin. The three then pick up their pace and run through the city. You might find it hard how these three are running through a large city without being noticed. Well, it's all thanks to Nagato's Kogitsune Maru, Little Fox. It has an ability known as Sight Beyond Omens, Mas alla de la vista presagios. This technique allows the user to turn whoever the wielder wishes to become invisible. After 50 minutes of running, the ground finds both Hanzo and Danzo. Hanzo narrows his eyes. He then growls. In a bright light of purple he summons a Kusarigama. This Kusarigama isn't any normal, no, this a sacred gear. But not just any sacred gear, a Sarst gear. He created his sacred is called Black Water, Kuroi Mizu. This sacred gears allows user to produce deadly poison. Danzo raises his soul eye at Hanzo but doesn't speak his thoughts. Hanzo swings his sickle. Come out, brats, I can sense no point on hitting. Demoned Hanzo. The invisible Nagato and Conan looked over to Yahiko. The orange-haired leader nods his head. Nagato deactivates Sight Beyond Omens, Mas alla de la vista presagios, allowing the three to become visible. Danzo glares at the three. Wick Hanzo just sneers at them. So, you've killed all the root agents, I presume, said Hanzo in a dark tone, glaring at each of the agents of God. Yahiko nods his head, gripping his sword tighty, ready for whatever the two old men planned under their sleeve. Yeah, we did. I take it you're not gonna tell your Intions, huh? Asked Yahiko with his voice laced with sarcasm. Both older men shook their heads negatively, staring down at Nagato. Yahiko, and Nagato. Conan clicked her tongue in annoyance and gazes at Yahiko. She then lets out a huff. I told you, Yahiko-kun, they wouldn't talk, said Conan. Yahiko lets out a chuckle and grins at THR Bluenet. Yeah, I suppose you're right, Conan-chan, said Yahiko. He then smirks at Hanzo. It's been a long time. Hanzo Teme, when was the last time we saw you? Asked Yahiko in a teasing tone. Hanzo just ignores the teasing tone of Yahiko. It doesn't matter. What does matter is this place shall be your resting place, boy, threatened Hanzo. He then looks towards Danzo. Which ones do you pick, Danzo? Asked Hanzo, looking at the bandage man. Danzo just stares at the three. I shall take the girl. You can take the other two, said Danzo. He then summons a light spear and summons his 6 black fallen angel wings. Hanzo shrugs his shoulders and summons his 6 black fallen angel rings and swings Kusarigama around. I guess this leaves me and you two, boy, stated Hanzo. Both boys looked over at Conan. You sure you can handle him, Conan-chan? Asked Yahiko. Conan smiled at Yahiko. Of course, after all he's a cripple, this shouldn't be too hard, stated Conan. She then summons her paper angel wings. Now enough talk, let's finish this, yelled Conan, flying towards Danzo. Yahiko and Nagato charged at Hanzo. Conan vs. Danzo. Conan uses her halo of script, Sukuriputo no Arrow, to create a paper sword of light. Paper halo of script, sword of arc, halo de sequencias de commandos, espada de arco, yelled Conan as she glares at the old man. Danzo charges with his own light spear. Both glare at each other. You'll pay for interfering, you bitch, snarled Danzo in anger. He kicks Conan in the shin, causing the Bluenet to tumble back before she can try to regain her balance. Danzo knees her in the chest, causing the woman to let out a silent scream of pain. Danzo tightly grabs onto the back of her head and slams her face onto his knee, cracking her nose. He then kicks her in the chest, sending her back, hitting the ground. Danzo raises his soul hand. Take this, Gaki light spear wave needles, Guang Mao Bo Gen, yelled Danzo. As the needles of light coming towards Conan, getting ready to cut her to ribbon. A dome of paper AP leers, blocking the barrage of light needles. Inside the dome, Conan is smirking. Halo of script, paper of fortress, halo de sequencias de commandos, papel de fortaleza, Had to try better than that old man. Now it's my turn. Halo of script. Paper daggers of the cursed. Sukuriputo no arrow. Noroorita no kami tanken. Whispered Conan. Suddenly the paper dome transform into multiple paper daggers. Danzo grits his teeth at this. He takes to the sky, flying and dodging. After 10 minutes of dodging, Danzo finds himself quite annoyed. He then summons his light spear wave needles, Guangmao Bo Gen. He then throws his own light weapons at Danzo, but unknown to Danzo he has 4 paper tags hooked onto his legs and back. Conan smirks at Danzo. This smirk pisses the old man off. Before he voice his own opinion, a hissing sounds goes off, catching THR man off guard, and to his surprise he finds paper notes attached to his legs. What? How? Asked Danzo, but he was mostly yelling at Conan. Conan just stares coldly at him. This is the end. Danzo Gomi. Halo of script. Heavenly paper explosion of the angels wool. Halo de secuencias de commandos. Celestial explosion del papel de Los Angeles. Enjoy the burning flames of hell. Yelled Conan, and before Danzo can even attempt to do anything, a huge explosion goes off as the smoke clears up. Blood, body parts, and black feathers fall from the sky. Conan lets out a loud huff and sigh. Damn arrogant old man, sighed Conan. Yahiko and Nagato versus Hanzo. After a long battle, each of the men are tired. Whatever happens determines who wins tonight, the people of the church or the fallen angel. Yahiko with his eye closed and Nagato with a large gash across his chest glares at Hanzo in hate, while Hanzo just looks at his burnt right eye. Nagato with his Kogitsune Maru, little fox, Abed black rod in his hand glares at the burnt Hanzo. Give up, Hanzo Teme, you're not going to win, yelled Nagato glaring at the man. Hanzo just stares at Nagato. Tisk. No, even in death I won't jibe up, said Hanzo with his eyes half-lidded. Both boy charge at him. Hanzo deflects their fury attacks, but suddenly the three stopped moving. Hanzo started cawing blood. He looked down and saw a flame spear thrpu his stomach. Hanzo just stumbles forward, running at the two in a lazy way. Yahiko and Nagato decapitate Hanzo's head from his body. Flashback, and Naruto with his eyes in wonder looks up at his uncle in amazement. Wow, you guys were awesome back then, Nagato Oji, said Naruto with his voice laced with excitement and wonder. Nagato chuckles at Naruto's excitement. Now Naruto-kun, go to sleep alright? Asked Nagato. Naruto nods his head, rolls over, allowing sleep to succumb him. Nagato smiles at his nephew but soon drops the smile and staring at his nephew's sleeping head. Ah. Minato, hope you're wrong about Naruto having a powerful sacred gear. People who possessed sacred gears always have a rough time. I just hope no devil or fallen angel trace to kill Naruto out of fear. Even Jiraiya-sensei believes whatever Naruto's sacred gear is can rival one of the Longinus. I do hope I can protect you, Naruto-kun, thought Nagato as he stares at his sleeping nephew. He then gives Naruto a silent pray. The next day Naruto leaves early in the morning to go to the park to play with the other children, or attempt to play with other children. Naruto strolls down the street with everyone waving to the young boy. Morning, Naruto, said a woman. Naruto turned his head, giving the woman a shy smile. Hey Ms. Butterbelt, said Naruto. Smiles down at the shy blonde Uzumaki. Going to the park, my boy? Axe ends, Butterbelt. Naruto nods his head, running off. She lets out a small laugh. That boy always in a hurry, said. As Naruto arrives at the park is full with children. As Naruto tries to muster the courage to ask if he could play, but he only can't find his voice, causing the blonde to grumble in frustration and annoyance. Naruto then goes over to the sandbox, building a sand pyramid. Yubaka. It's not that hard, just speak up, thought Naruto, yelling at himself for his shyness. As Naruto is playing in the sand, he turned his head, looking at a kid with a blank expression. Naruto sweat drops. What a weirdo. Well, I know who I am asking, thought Naruto as he watches the boy eat sand, causing the blonde Uzumaki to face fault. Yep, a weirdo, thought Naruto. He then groans in annoyance and leaving the park, heading towards his second favorite place, the gym. After hours at the gym letting out some of his frustration on the punching bag, me sees a priest sleeping on the floor. I guess even priest needs some rest, whispered Naruto with a sweat drop. He walks over to the blonde priest and starts poking the priest on the head. The priest lets out a grumble. Come priest, wake up. This isn't a place to sleep, yak now, stated Naruto. The priest's eyes start opening. The priest is a young man with blonde hair, green eyes, and dressed in priest clothes. The priest lets out a loud lawn. He then stares at the blonde child before him. Is it still morning? Asks the priest. He then smiles charmingly at the shy blonde. This must be Naruto Uzumaki, Minato's child. Archangel Michael-sama is right, this child does have a powerful sacred gear, thought the priest. Naruto rubs the back of his head nervously as he stares at the priest before him. And no, it's the afternoon, said a stuttering Naruto. The priest tilts his head. My name is Dulio. What's yours, child? Asked Dulio in a nice tone which almost sounded holy but unknown to Naruto. Dulio Gesualdo is an exorcist reincarnated into an angel by the Archangel Michael as his Joker. He possesses the second strongest Longinus, Zenith Tempest. Naruto blinks his blue eyes in response. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, said Naruto with a little biy of confidence. Dulio smiles in a carefree tone, extending out his hands towards Naruto. The blonde hesitantly grips onto Dulio's hand. Dulio smiles in a carefree way. You seem lonely, Naruto-kun. Asked Dulio, not able to find his voice. Naruto looks down, avoiding Dulio gaze. Dulio kneels down before Naruto. He then pats Naruto's head. There's no need to feel down, Naruto-kun. I know someone who's your age who would love to be your friend, stated Dulio. Naruto stares up at Dulio with his bright blue ocean eyes in excitement. Really? Exclaimed Naruto, who nearly yelled. Dulio chucks, lightly nodding his head. Why, of course, Naruto-kun, just wait here and I'll bring you your new friend, stated Dulio. Naruto full-heartedly agrees and leaves to bring Naruto as new friend. I wonder who it is. I hope you're nice like Dulio and Nagato Oji. EXL claimed Naruto cheerfully. I wonder who's he bringing. I wonder, is it a boy or a girl? Pondered Naruto. But before Naruto's thought can linger any further, he notices something going on in the street. He quickly walks over and sees an old crossing the street and a truck carrying a tank of substance coming at the old man. Seeing the old man might die, he runs off and ignores the screams and yells for Naruto to stop. Naruto pushes the old man out of the way, but by doing so the blonde boy is now in the way of the truck. For Naruto it felt like time had stopped for the child. Is this it? Am I going to die here? But I don't want to die now, exclaimed Naruto with fear. Everyone watches as trucks hits the 5-year-old boy, making the child scream in pain. The last thing the blonde saw was the lime green substance hitting his face before blacking out. Oh my god! Yelled a man. That child just got ran over, exclaimed a young woman. I think he's still alive, said an old man. Someone call an ambulance, he needs medical attention, yelled a man. With Nagato has just finished giving a pray, but when suddenly he notices one of the glasses and broke. The redhead man narrows his eyes at this. Naruto, I hope you're okay, whispered Nagato in a worried tone. Nagato then grabs hold of his cross and closes. Joy is prayer. Joy is strength. Joy is love. Joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls. The Lord is with me. I am simply a humble servant of thy Lord. I do not ask for much, but just please God, please keep Naruto safe, prayed Nagato. He then sighs softly, prayed Nagato. Nagato then massages the temple of his forehead. I do hope Naruto is alright, but I have feeling things have changed. I just hope these events weren't caused by the wrath of God, but whatever has happened to my nephew, I will be there for him just like I promised Kushina and Minato, said Nagato. Nagato then turns to a picture of him, Yahiko, Konan, and an infant Akiyuki, but can't help but wish Minato and Kushina would retire from being an exorcist priest in a number. I know those two were both born into the church and they fought for the church in years. I know for them just to retire would be almost impossible. I just wish that they would retire, sighed Nagato as he runs his hair through his red hair. Nagato then makes some tea and drinks it to calm his nerves, but he heard a loud knocking on his door. Nagato puts his team down and walks towards the door. Once he opens it, he sees a nurse who goes by the name of Hachidori Burasutan. Hummingbird, Blue Stone. Nagato smiles at the young nurse. Ah. Hello Hachidori, how are you doing? Asked Nagato with a small smile. He then loses the smile when he sees the distressed and heartbroken expression in the young nurse. What's wrong? Is there anything I can do? Asked the red-haired priest. Her distressed look even looked worse. Father Nagato, your nephew Naruto, said Hachidori. Nagato's smile then vanished as if it was never truly there in the first place. What happened to Naruto? Asked Nagato. Naruto saved a man who was about to be ran over, but in the process Naruto was ran over and some of the chemicals that the truck was holding splashed Naruto in the eyes, said Hachidori. With Naruto has his eyes covered in white bandages. The young blonde is sitting in a white hospital room with a sound of machines going off. While his eyes are covered, he remembers the smell of the hospital. After all, Nagato had took Naruto to the hospital with him all the time when his uncle would pray for the sick children. Naruto then groans as he finally awakes. He then notices something wraps around his face as Naruto reaches for what's around someone. Allow their voice to be known. Don't your eyes haven't healed yet? Yelled a female. Upon hearing the voice of a young girl shocks the young who's there, demanded Naruto as he looks around. The female let out a loud eep. I am sorry. My name is Asia Argento. I was sent here by Dulio to heal you, said Asia. Naruto raises his eyebrow and gains a confused expression. Heal? What you mean heal, like your nurse or something? Asked Naruto. He was aware of angels, fallen angels, devils, and all other type of mythical creatures. Sure Nagato, Conan, and Yahiko had powers, but his 5-year-old mind doesn't understand when she said Shed healed him. Seeing the confused look on the blonde's face, Asia shakes her head and waves her hands negatively. And no, I am not a nurse, I am too young to be a nurse, yelled Asians frankly. Naruto raises an eyebrow. Well, you sound like you're my age, but you still didn't tell me how you healed me, axed Naruto. Usually he was shy around people, but for some reason he didn't feel shy around her. Asia blushes in embarrassment, but not that Naruto can see her. Do the bandages around his eyes. I am sorry. What's your name? Duilio didn't tell me your name, asks Asia as she tilts her head. Cutesy. Naruto rubbed the back of his head nervously, letting out a nervous chuckle. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, said Naruto. Asia smiles warmly at the blonde, but for some reason Naruto knew she was smiling. He didn't know how, he just knew the person in front of him was smiling at him. It's nice to meet you, Naruto-kun. I hope we can be friends, said Asia with a million-watt smile. Naruto just nods his head. I guess I did meet Asia. She seems nice and so innocent, thought Naruto. So Asia-chan, how did you heal me? Or some kind of fairy, asked Naruto. Asia lets out a chuckle which to Naruto sounded like the most beautiful thing he had ever heard in his life. No, don't be silly, Naruto-kun. Fairies aren't real. I healed you with my special gift, said Asia, smiling softly at the boy who gives her a curious look. You see, Naruto-kun, I have this special power that allows me to heal anyone. It's also because of these powers that got me into the church. I am truly thankful for the Lord. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have met you, Naruto-kun, said Asia with a gentle smile. Naruto nods his head. This girl in front of him has powers like Nagato, Yahiko, and Conan, while not the same powers but powers nonetheless. Hello, then smiles at her. True, I guess if it wasn't for Hod we would never have met, but oh yeah, you said you'd healed me, but the only thing I remember is some stuff getting into my eyes, said Naruto with a small frown, looking down. Asia also loses her own smile, looking at her new friend with a sad expression. Naruto-kun, when you pushed that old man out the way, you took the hit, breaking several of your bones, and a container carrying some liquid in it hit you in the face. I was able to heal all of your injuries. I tried to heal your eyes the best I can, but I wasn't able to fix them, said Asia with a downcast expression. She looks at Naruto and sees him with his head down. Neither of them talked. This had lasted for about 3 minutes. Naruto raises his head with a blank stare. If that's what the kind of expression Asia had thought he had. Asia, tell me what's wrong with my eyes, asked Naruto with an emotionless tone. Asia lowers her head in sadness. Naruto, whatever that stuff that got in your eyes, the doctor had said that stuff had blinded you, Naruto-kun. The doctor had said you need to keep the bandages on your face for protection, said Asia in a sad time. Right as she said that, everything around Naruto had frozen. Naruto's hands start to shake viciously. All the blonde heard as he's blind. He then reaches for his bandaged face and grips his face tightly. The only sound that could be heard is the machines that are beeping and Naruto's soft crying. His soft quiet crying then turns to a loud crying of pain, sadness, and horror. His bandages become soaked with his very own tears and face becomes bright red. Naruto doesn't understand why he had to lose his sight. After all, he's always been a good boy. He's always did everything his uncle asks of him. He even never once hated his parents after they left. Sure, he might be shy around people, but he would always pray to God to forgive his parents for leaving him. Naruto would always go to church with his uncle. The now blind blonde just couldn't fathom why he was blind. He didn't know if this was some cruel act of God or was this some holy act of God. All he knew was that he's blind and there's probably nothing that can change that. Naruto then continues to cry his eyes out. He then feels someone wrap their arms around him, bringing him into their chest. Seeing as Asia is the only one with him in the room, it was obviously her. He doesn't know why, but for some reason it felt good to have her hugging. Naruto then feels tears on his face, but not his own tears but the tears from Asia. The blonde female then rubs Naruto's back to calm down the distressed Naruto. She then gains a sorrow expression. Naruto-kun, I am sorry you lost your sight, said Asia. Naruto hugs her tightly. Why are you sorry? It's not your fault. I just don't understand why this happened, said Naruto. Asia knew it wasn't her fault, but she can't help but feel useless. No matter how Shed tried, she couldn't heal his sight. She just doesn't understand why couldn't she heal her new friend. Naruto-kun, you know what I think, asks Asia in a soft, heartwarming tone. Naruto just shook his head negatively. No, not really, Asia, said Naruto in a solemn tone. Asia just smiles sadly. I believe everything happens for a reason. I mean, there has to be reason why the Lord has taken away your sight. I know he wouldn't do it out of spite, said Asia. Naruto smiles sadly and closes his eyes. Thanks, Asia-chan, I need to hear that, said Naruto. Asia smiles warmly at Naruto. You're welcome, Naruto-kun, I am glad to help. After all, you were my first friend, said Asia warmly. In heaven, after the death of God, Michael became the leader of the angels and seraphs. He is the only archangel and one of the god of the Bible's creation who took his place as leader after he died in the Great War. Archangel Michael looks down on Earth with a small smile. The blonde man had foreseen something like this happening. He knew Naruto would go blind today after it was written in the Book of Life while watching the young child do a good deed and becomes blind because of said deed is heartbreaking, but he knew it must be done, but he was happy that the lonely blonde maid Asia has a friend. The Archangel knew that both will need each other as both were quite unique people, not just that but they were valuable with Asia's scarce gear Twilight Healing, Towairito Haringu, and Naruto's own scarce gear Helm of Night, Yuru no Hiramu. Michael somehow knew Naruto won't be part of the church, mostly because Nagato doesn't want Naruto to live a dangerous life. The leader of heaven hears footsteps. He turns around and sees Dulio eating a Reese's cup that's the size of a bowling ball. How or where did Dulio get such a large piece of candy? Michael doesn't know, and something in the back of his head was telling him you don't want to know. Michael, the blonde man, sighs at the angel before him. Dulio, you've returned, I see. I thought you were going to come back after meeting up with Minato's child? Asks Michael in a stern tone. Dulio just smiles away and eats the giant Reese's cup that would mostly bet the angel in a sugar coma. I would have returned sooner, but in the next town I've heard of this candy store that sells the largest and most divine sweets, and I just had to try it and it's the most divine thing I've ever tasted, said Dulio with an expression filled with ecstasy. Michael sighs at his fellow angel. While the man was a good angel who didn't stray like some of the angels who became fallen angels, but if there was one thing the blonde-haired man didn't like about Dulio is his obsession. Sweats. Michael doesn't even know how many bills that the churches have received due to the mon's unhealthy love for sweets. I would have liked it if you came here before buying new sweets. By the way, how much was that? Asked Michael, but he had a feeling he was going to regret it. Dulio smiles happily at Michael. It was $50. Don't worry, I told the people the church will take care of the bill, said Dulio in carefree attitude. Which caused Michael to sweat drop. While he found Dulio obsession annoying, he was happy that Dulio hadn't fallen like so many. You know, Dulio, just forget it, said Michael with a sigh. Dulio just smiles at his leader Michael-sama. So how is Naruto-kun handling being blind? Asked Dulio. He's handling like any child would, said Michael, at which Dulio nodded his head. Held knew the child but be confused and scared, but sadly this was supposed to happen. Dulio then gains a sad expression. It's a pity Minato-kun and Kushina-chan can't be there when their son needs them the most, said Dulio. Michael agrees with Dulio. It is sad, but those two are needed. Michael lets out a sigh. It truly is a pity, but as you know, Dulio, the church needs both Minato and Kushina, said Michael. Dulio nods his head in agreement. While it's sad that both Minato and Kushina might never know of their blind child, Hello understood how important the two were to the church. After all, their numbers of angels has decreased since the war. The same can be said for the fallen angels and devils. Dulio stares at Michael with a small smile. But it's also a pity that Naruto lost his eyesight at such a young age. But do you think the devils or fallen angels might go after Naruto-kun? I mean, his Sarst gear is powerful, even more powerful than Divine Dividing, Debane Debatingu, and Boost gear, Busatet Ogia, asked Dulio. Michael shook his head negatively. No, I doubt it. As you know, Nagato is a powerful human. He might be retired, but he's alive, and not many fallen angels or devils would try to kill Nagato unless they're arrogant enough in believing they can. Nagato, said Michael with confidence. Dulio nods his head. Or retarded. Only a fool would even try to kill Nagato when they themselves are much weaker than Nagato, said Dulio. Michael lets out a light chuckle. Michael knew Dulio was right, since arrogant idiots did attempt to kill Nagato, but all of their attempts failed. It was also the reason why he retired after the man was growing tired of the constant people trying to kill him. But Michael had a feeling Naruto would play a huge part in the world the next years. He just doesn't know what exactly. With Naruto, Asia has been able to calm Naruto. The two then tell each other stories. Asia was shocked that his uncle is Nagato, a powerful priest. But just as they were talking away with a bright smile, someone barges in the room, causing the two blondes to jump in surprise. Asia and Naruto turns to the door, seeing Nagato. Well, Asia can see and Naruto is wondering who barged in. Who is it? Asked Naruto. Nagato widened his eyes seeing his nephew bandage face. The red-haired man then turns to Asia, which shocked him since he didn't know Asia and Naruto knew each other. Nagato gains a small smile. Naruto, it's me, Nagato. I'd heard you were in an accident and I rush over as soon as I can, said Nagato as he smiles at his nephew. Upon hearing his uncle's voice, Naruto jumps down, but in the process falls and hit the ground. At seeing her friend just fall out of bed, Asia jumps down and quickly checks and sees if he's injured anywhere. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Asks a frantic Asia. After Asia and Nagato helps Naruto up, he turns to the sound of her voice and smiles at her. Yeah, I am okay, said Naruto with smile. Nagato smiles down at the blonde child. Are you sure you're okay? Asked Nagato, but without warning Naruto hugs his uncle, which Nagato hugs him back. Nagato then smiles down at the female blonde. Thank you for healing my nephew, said Nagato with a grateful expression. Asia with her head tilted to the side just smiles at Nagato. She wasn't surprised that Nagato knew her name since most if not all priests, nuns, and exorcists of the church knew of her and her power. It's no problem, I am happy to help. I couldn't live with myself if I wasn't able to help someone, said Asia with a charming smile. She then loses the smile. Naruto turns towards Nagato. Asia-chan is awesome datbayo. She was able to heal him well. Almost heal me, said Naruto in a sad time. Nagato raises his eyebrow at this. Naruto, what do you mean she was almost healed you? Does it have something to do with the accident you were in? Asked Nagato looking down at Naruto. Naruto nods his head. Nagato, when I was run over something in the containers hit my face, and I am blind now, I can't see, stuttered Naruto. Nagato just holds Naruto. Well, figure something out, I promise, said Nagato as he cries for his nephew while Asia looks on sad. Naruto looks up at Nagato, thus forcing Nagato to look down at Naruto's milky blue eyes. If that wasn't worse, me was also staring down at Naruto's face that is bathed in the emotion of sadness. Nagato wipes the blonde boy's face, clearing his face of tears. The scene is so heart-wrenching had caused the young innocent blonde female then begins to cry. I am sorry, Father Nagato, said Asia with a bow. Nagato turned his head to the young nun. Why are you saying sorry? You aren't at fault, said Nagato, who has a sad expression on his face. The young girl stares intensely at the priest's purple eyes. But I see ko couldn't. Healed Naruto-kun's eyes, yelled Asia with fresh tears rolling down her face. The red-hailed Uzumaki eyes went wide in shock. He knew Asia doesn't really know his nephew. His eyes soften at the amount of concern Asia has for Naruto. This girl must be truly a pure and kind. I know she and Naruto will become great friends, thought Nagato. He then placed his hand on top of Asia's head, catching her to stare straight him teary-eyed. He then gives her a warm smile of comfort. There's no need to place the blame on yourself. While you weren't able to heal his eyes, you were able to heal everything else. If it weren't for you, Naruto would have probably be in a body cast and be here for months, replied Nagato. Naruto turns his head but misses the look of sadness and guilt from Nagato and Asia. Even though Nagato had told Asia she should feel like it's her fault, each of the followers of God can't help but feels like it's their fault. Asia believes it's her fault due to him and her were supposed to meet each other. She believes if she was never promised to meet Naruto by Duilio, then Naruto wouldn't be in the hospital blind. Nagato blames himself because he wasn't there when Naruto needed him the most. Times like this Nagato had wished Minato and Kushina weren't exorcists. He knew the two had pledged their loyalty to God, Archangel Michael, and the church, but he feels if the two of them weren't exorcised or even involved with the three factions, then Naruto wouldn't feel all lonely. He does. Hell, the child probably wouldn't be as shy he is, since Minato or Kushina was never really shy as a child. Naruto then smiles at the two. You two should blame yourselves. It's nay neither of your faults. I was just unlucky. Sniffle Naruto, not even caring the tears coming from milky eyes. Even though the young child says this, he doesn't understand. Actually, he couldn't understand why does this happen to him. After all, he's been good 5 years, deserves to lose their eyesight. Even now as he stares or attempts to look at Nagato and Asia, everything looks black and filled with blurs, unrecognized blurs. Naruto then begins to shiver and tremble in fear. Will that be his life, to be surrounded by the darkness, never to be able to see, never be able to look at thing? Will this void of darkness truly be the first and last thing he sees when he wakes up and goes to sleep? Why him? Why did this have to happen to him? What did he do to deserve this? Did he do something in his past life? Asia then jumps at Naruto, catching him off guard. Asia, is that you? Asked Naruto. Asia then feels sad since Naruto can't see her while she can see him. She then wraps her arms around the trembling Uzumaki. He wraps his arms around Asia, holding her tight. Naruto-kun will get through of this, said a crying Asia. How can you be so sure? I can't even see. I don't even know what you look like, Asia, said Naruto in a tone of disappointment that's directed to himself. Asia's cheeks then turned a slight color pink. Because I have faith in Naruto-kun. I know this might sound strange, but I was wondering, would be my friend? I'd on the Veni friends, said Asia with her speech filled with uncertainty, shyness, and nervousness. Naruto just blinks his eyes in confusion, not believing she would want to be his friend and not being able to understand what she had said at the very last. Asia, what did you say? I didn't real catch it, stated Naruto. Nagato, who was watching from afar, chuckle at the two, but more so at Asia blushing at the notion of becoming friends with his nephew, since in most cases the girl would blush at trying to ask the boy out. Asia then buries her face into his shoulder. I said I don't have any friends, said Asia. But why do you want to be my friend? Asked Naruto. Because you're a nice person. You saved someone you didn't even know, and you did it out of the kindness of your soul. I know this isn't how either us thought we would meet, but I would like to be your friend Naruto-kun, said Asia. Naruto pulls away from her and somehow was able to look at directly. Naruto grins at Asia. Sure, I love to be your friend, you'll be my first friend, said Naruto in a cheerful tone. Asia smiles brightly even though he wasn't able to see her smile. You'll be first friend to Naruto-kun, said Asia. The two blinded then spend the next 10 minutes talking, but due to them being physically and emotionally tired, Nagato smiles at the scene of both Naruto and Asia sleeping in the same bed. Even though today was a roller coaster, he is happy Naruto finally made a friend. He just wished it was a better circumstance. Nagato then closes his eyes. He then runs his hand through his crimson-colored hair. At least now I'll have some time to go over what has just happened, but if I had to be honest with myself, I don't know how I am going to handle this new change, but I know I must warn Minato and Kushina even though they haven't seen their son since he was 2, muttered Nagato. He then opens his eyes and turns to the sleeping children. But even after they went on a dangerous mission that can be considered suicide, they had made me promise to watch over Naruto and to make sure he doesn't get involved with any of the 3 factions. I might be failed to protect, but I want again. I promise Naruto I'll help you get through this, thought Nagato with a determined look. He then closed his eyes, allowing him some rest, but before he can even sleep he hears a knock at the door. Nagato looks up at the door. Come in, said Nagato. He then sees a male doctor enters the room. The man bows to him with a respectable bow. Hello, I will be Naruto's doctor. My name Dr. Andrew Anderson. I see Naruto is sleeping good. He needs some sleep after what had happened to him. He needs to sleep, said Anderson. Nagato nods his head in agreement. He then stares at the doctor with a serious expression. Anderson, I have to ask, will Naruto ever be able to see? Asks a hopeful Nagato. Anderson turns to Nagato with a serious expression. Well, in most cases I would say he has keratoconus. This disorder is a progressive thinning of the cornea. It is the most common corneal dystrophy in the U.S., affecting 1 in every 2,000 Americans. It typically manifests itself early in life, and is most prevalent in teenagers and adults in their 20s. Keratoconus arises when the middle of the cornea thins and gradually bulges outward from the pressure inside the eye, forming a rounded cone shape. This abnormal curvature changes the cornea's refractive power, producing moderate to severe distortion, astigmatism and blurriness, nearsightedness of vision. Keratoconus may also cause swelling and a sight-impairing scarring of the tissue, but since Naruto doesn't have any of the diseases that would cause his eyes from deteriorate, but not only that, but whatever had spilled into his eyes had destroyed his irises and cornea completely. So, we are not sure what the stuff is, said Anderson. Nagato releases a tiresome sigh. So Naruto might never be able to see again, correct? Asked Nagato. The doctor nods his head. Correct, Nagato. The chances are of Naruto gaining back his sight are slim to none. I am sorry, Nagato, apologized Anderson. The red-haired man then bows his head in sadness. It's all right, lied Nagato. He then raises his head. Do you even know what the stuff was? Asked Nagato, hoping to know what the stuff was that destroyed Naruto's eyesight. Anderson shook his head negatively. Unfortunately, we don't know. Actually, we're not even sure of all the ingredients that are in that container, but you shouldn't worry about that. What you should worried about is Naruto. That child is going to need a lot of help, but I believe the first thing you should is get him use the fact that he's blind. After that you should get him a teacher, said Anderson. Nagato shot him a confused look. Teach? To teach him what exactly? Asked Nagato, who looks lost and wondering what a teacher can do to help Naruto. Anderson shook his head negatively. I am not talking about getting a normal school teacher. I am talking about getting a Braille teacher, said Anderson. A Braille teacher? Repeated Nagato. He turned his attention to Naruto. He then turns his attention back to the doctor. Anderson nods his head. Yes, a special education teachers make it possible for students with physical or mental disabilities to learn math, reading, and writing like other students. When the children or adults have poor vision or are completely blind, Braille allows them to learn to read with their fingers, opening a whole new world of information in a language they can understand. Braille instructors have the rewarding job of teaching students how to read Braille, and I also know a Braille instructor. Here's her card. Call her when you feel Naruto is ready, said Anderson, handing him the card. Nagato grabs hold of the card and he sees the name Yugito ni. Nagato raised his eyebrow. Is she a good teacher? Asked Nagato. Anderson nods his head. Yay, she is. She's actually helped someone from deep depression. She's also a nice and kind woman. If you're worried she might harm Naruto in any way, you don't have to worry. She understands going blind is quite scary, especially if you're just a child, said Anderson. He then glances at Naruto, who's snoring lightly. Yugito has a bachelor's degree in child development and a bachelor's in sociology, said Anderson. Nagato eyes went up in shock and massages his chin. Wow, she's quite educated, to have 2 different bachelor degrees. How old is she exactly? Asked Nagato. Anderson lets out a small chuckle, thus confusing Nagato. What's so funny? questioned Nagato, narrowing his eyes. It's nothing, you're just going to be shocked, said a smiling Anderson. And why is that? What can be shocking about her age? Asked Nagato. Well, because Yugito is 29 years old, said Anderson, leaving a shocked and dumbfounded Nagato just leaving open his open. That's amazing. But it's still shocking someone that young had managed able to gain 2 different degrees in that short time, exclaimed Nagato. It is quite shocking how young and successful she is, but it shows how talented she is, and her dedication, spoke Anderson in a peaceful tone. Nods his head agreeing with Anderson. He then smiles at the doctor. Thank for helping me. I just hope when I call this Yugito person shall treat him well, said Anderson. Naruto must be lucky to have someone like you to care for him, said Anderson in a kind tone. A small smile appears on his face. Actually, it's I who am lucky to have someone like Naruto. He's always been my bright light, Anderson, but I know he's going to need all the help he can get, said Nagato. Anderson smiles brightly at this. He then glances at Asia. I believe that little young there will make things good for him, said Anderson. Nagato agrees with him. The doctor then rises from his seat. Well, I must be going. Call if you need anything, said Anderson. I will. Thank you, doctor, said Nagato as he watches the doctor leave the room. Heck then glances down at the card. I really do hope you can help Naruto, said Nagato. He then closes his eyes, but as soon as he closes them he can sense holy magic, not the corrupt holy magic that's from the fallen angels, but the pure and holy legendary angels. Nagato helped to wonder, what is an angel doing here? Sure, they have came to see him and to ask him to go on a mission, but he's been retired from being an exorcist. He then glances at the sleeping duo, but more precisely he's staring at Asia. So she's with the angels. I know she's not an exorcist and she's too innocent to even have any ill will towards anyone, thought Nagato. Dulio smiles brightly at Nagato. Nagato, it's good see you. How have you been? Asked Dulio in a peace tone. Nagato just sighs. I can't say the same, said Nagato in an exhausted tone. The angel tilts his head in confusion at Nagato. Really, why is that? Asked Dulio. His eyes then travels towards Naruto and Asia. The angel then gains a saddened and heartbroken expression. I am really sorry for what happened to Naruto-kun, said Dulio. Nagato gives him a lazy look. Thank you, that means a lot, Dulio-sama, said Nagato. Asia seems pretty happy, commenced Dulio. The red-haired man glances at the 2 children and gives him a nod. Yeah, she does. She's quite attached to him, but I suppose that happens when you're alone. You become attached to the first person who showed kindness, said Nagato. Dulio nods his head. He then smiles brightly and claps his hands together. I am so glad those 2 can get along. I am so glad I told Naruto about Asia. It might happen differently than I thought, said a cheerful Dulio. Nagato eyes went open wide. Whwh, what? Exclaimed Nagato. His eyes glowed light purple in color. Oh yeah, I meet little Naruto early, Dulio. Nagato grits his teeth in anger and subconsciously summons a magic rod. Dulio tilts his head in confusion. What's wrong, Nagato? Asked Dulio. Just leave, Dulio. Just leave, now, snarled Nagato. Gritted his teeth. I am frustration stopping himself from ripping the soul out of the angel. Does he wants to kill the angel? Yes, no doubt. At this moment he realized this oblivious angel is the cause of Naruto's blindness. Very well, ill be going, said Dulio, sensing the negative emotions from Nagato. Watches as the angle is enveloped in a bright yellow light. Just as the light dims down and Dulio vanishes, the black rod then disappears as if it wasn't there. He then lets out a tiresome sigh. He turns towards Naruto and Aya and sees the 2 blonde children who are still sleeping soundly. Good, they're still asleep. I must keep Naruto away from heaven and the church. Even being involved with the angels can lead to someone's death, thought Nagato. The man finally closes his eyes. Luckily for the adult Uzumaki, no one had went to the room, thus allowing the man to finally get some sleep, at which he's grateful for. I must keep Naruto away from the angels, muttered a sleeping Nagato. With him entering the world of dream, he has a dream. Well, not a normal dream, more of a flashback. Dream start now. Why am I dreaming about this? Is this really a dream or am I just having a flashback? I don't think anyone knows why they have certain dreams, but I suppose I am having this dream due to Naruto now being blind, and it's all Dulio's fault. Naruto will never be able to see again, thought Nagato as he's standing in front of Minato Namikaze, the Flash Executioner, Furashu Jiko Sha, and Kushina Uzumaki, the Empress Slayer, and Pursushiraya. He knew this day. After all, how can he not know this day? He can feel the cold winter breather on him, the smell of the winter flowers blooming. It was the day he last saw and spoken to the Tuit, and it was the day he took in Naruto. Minato has frequently been noted by a lot of exorcists and angels of his handsome appearance. He has bright blue eyes that shine bright as the ocean and pierced your very soul, and he has spiky long blonde hair. Minato also had jaw-length bangs framing either side of his face. He wears a large cassock which has purple trim and black interior. Black pants, black boots, a black shirt with red trim. A clerical collar, white gloves, and a silver cross around his neck. On his gloves, there are inscriptions written across the crosses drawn on the back. The right hand says Jesus Christ is in heaven. The left hand says speak with evil. Minato has a sacred gear known as Thunder God, Raijin. This sacred gear is a Vajra that summons a blade of lightning. Not only does it grant him the ability to summon lightning, but it also allows him to move at the speed of light. Kushina is a woman well known for her beauty. She has a slender but feminine build, fair skin, violet eyes, and the beautiful luscious red hair. It reached her ankles with shoulder-length strands that framed both sides of her face and a black clip that parts her hair to the left. She wears a black and blue striped combat uniform. In her appearance, she wears a long blue battle dress without shoulder straps, little blue combat heels. Underneath her battle dress she wears black Kelvar legging pants, and she wears blue armored gloves. She also has a sacred gear called Twilight of Doom, Unmei no Yugure. The sword was created by Surtur using the Burning Galaxy, created by exploding the home galaxy of the Corbinites. The sword is catalyst for magic energies, increasing its user's power and while also act as a shield to prevent from other magic objects from harming its user to a point. While in the hands of Creator, the sword's main ability is to cut through anything he wishes, be it physical objects or the barriers between realities. The blade is destined to be coated in the eternal flame, granting it higher capabilities, allowing it to bring forth the end Asgard and accomplish many things from cutting into other dimensions, channeling tremendous amount of energy, and cutting through nearly all forms of metals and magic barriers. Nagato stares at the two exorcists in front of him in curiosity. Why have you called me here? Not that I don't mind seeing the two of, but there must be a reason why you two are here, asked Nagato, staring at Minato, who has a serious expression and Kushina has a conflicted expression. Nagato narrows his eyes at Minato, whose eyes become cold. This must be serious. His eyes only get like that when something serious is about to happen, thought Nagato. Minato just nods his head slowly. He then releases a deep breath, breathing out a cold breath. We wouldn't call you out here if it wasn't necessary. We wouldn't call you here, but we need your help, Nagato, said Minato with a serious expression. The red-haired male raised an eyebrow at the blonde male. You need my help? With what? Like to go on a mission with you too? Asked Nagato in confusion. Kushina shook her head negatively. No, we need you to look over Naru-chan, said Kushina, wiping away a soul tear. His eyes went open in shock. You want me to look after Naruto? But why? Yelled Nagato, staring at Kushina. Kushina's hair shadowing her face, not even minding her tears hitting the snowy floor. Minato looks down in sadness. Archangel Michael-sama, he wants us to go on a mission, said a saddened Kushina. Nagato narrows his eyes at Kushina. What kind of mission is he ordering you on? Asked Nagato. Kushina looks up at Nagato, her deep violet teary orbs gazed into his own violet-colored eyes. Nagato, you are aware that Loki wishes for Ragnarok, correct? Asked Kushina. Nagato nods his head. What you might not know is that he's working with Ares and Phobos, said Kushina. Nagato eyes shot opened wide in shock. But why? I thought Asgardians and Olympians and hate each other, questioned Nagato. They do, but they hate Odin, Zeus, and Poseidon even more than they hate each other. Those three are also working with the fallen angel Samyaza, who was one of the first original. They even have the fallen angels who don't agree with Azazel's peace treaty. They plan to awaken something ancient, something before God, Lucifer, Odin, and Zeus. It's even before Cronus. It's a creature that even the great Red and Ophis is scared of, said Kushina. Leaving Nagato shocked. He couldn't believe what he heard, something that Infinite Dragon fears. He then turned towards Minato, who just nods his head. Now you see why we need your help, Nagato. Minato, who looks horrible, which can be a factor to his eyes being red from crying. You don't accept yourselves to come back alive, do you? Asked Nagato, but it was more of a statement. The two parents nod their head. While they did enjoy working for the church and going on missions for Archangel Michael, they loved their child Naruto than anything. They remembered the first cries of their child as he was born. Unfortunately for both Minato and Kushina, they didn't have a choice to accept this mission since it's an order by the new leader of heaven, Archangel Michael. No, we don't. We know this mission is suicidal, but you should. No one within the church can deny a request or mission given by the higher-ups in heaven, said Minato. Nagato runs his hand through his hair, and anyone who denies a mission from Archangel Michael is punished. In some cases, if you deny a mission because of your own principles, it can end to your death, stated Nagato. He then narrows his eyes in realization. Kushina rubs the back of her head negatively. I supposed you realized what would happen to us if we deny this mission, stated Kushina in a solemn expression. She then gains a serious expression. Nagato, can you do something for me? Asked Kushina in a deadly tone. Nagato just stares at shock at the tone that his cousin had used since she's always been cheerful. Sure, she has been serious but never this serious. Your family Kushina, so, of course, said Nagato, a calm tone. With her face filled with dried tears, became serious. I don't want Naru-chan to be involved with the church or heaven. I don't want him to be an exorcist or a priest. You know as much as I do, being a priest, nun, or exorcist of the church is a lonely yet dangerous lifestyle. But Nagato, please promise me you'll keep my Naru-chan away from joining the angel faction. Promise me you'll keep him safe from the three factions, cried Kushina, glaring at Nagato. Minato then turns to Nagato with a solemn expression. Please protect Naruto. All we care about is the safety of our son. He can still go to church. We just want our Naruto-kun safe. Please Nagato, keep our son out of the world of supernatural. Can we trust you that you'll keep Naruto away from the angel faction? Asked Minato. With a look of determination and fire burning in his eyes. He'll protect Naruto no matter what. That's a promise of a lifetime, declared Nagato, causing both parents of Naruto Ro smile at Nagato with a look of gratitude. Minato gains a bright smile and places his hand on Nagato's shoulder. Thank you, Nagato, said Minato. Nagato smiles at Minato. We're family, but I have to ask, when do you plan to leave? Asks a curious Nagato. He then retreats his hand from Nagato's shoulder and puts them in his pockets. We plan to leave in 5 months, said Minato. Nagato sighs. That's not very long, said Nagato with a deadpan expression. Dream. And even though the red-haired priest's dream ends, he's still asleep. But as Nagato continues to sleep, Naruto and Asia begin to stir. Naruto's and Asia's eyes begin to flutter open. Asia stares into his milky-colored eyes. Naruto raises from the bed and begins to stretch his body. Asia giggles at the sight of Naruto stretching. Naruto just stares in space and raised an eyebrow. What? Questioned the blind Uzumaki. Asia continues to giggle as Naruto tilts his head to the side. It's nothing, you just look like a fox, Naruto-kun, exclaimed the young nun, who has a pure-hearted grin on her face. Even though he was unable to see she was grinning him, he didn't know how, but he somehow just knew the young blonde girl inches from him. He wasn't really surprised since a lot of people have said it before, but mostly the female population had commented about him looking like a fox. He knew they said that because of his bizarre birthmarks. Naruto then sits across from Asia. The young nun is saddened at this, not because she's forced to look him in his voidless eyes, but she's saddened that she is facing the left side of the bed. She grabs his hand, causing to be caught off guard. She then rises from the bed, bringing Naruto up with her. She then turns Naruto around, having him face her. Both blondes then gain a saddened expression. Naruto then stares at Asia, but this time he was able to look her in eye. Asia, why do you call me Naruto-kun? Asked Naruto. Asia blushes at Naruto. She then begins to play with her long blonde hair. BB, because you're my friend, you don't like it when I called you that? Asks Asia in a meek tone. Naruto shook his head negatively. Furiously, you can call me Naruto-kun. I don't mind, Asia. I am just happy finally have a friend, said a grinning Naruto. Asia beams at this. Me too, Naruto-kun, you're my best friend, exclaimed Asia with a million-watt smile. She couldn't believe she had met someone as kind and nice. Not only that, Naruto didn't shun her even when she told him about her healing gift that was given to her by God, and it was also a plus that he treated her as Asia Agrento and not the Twilight healing nun. It has been a couple years since he had lost his sight, but in recent years lots of things have changed, like his best friend Asia Argento being banned from the church because she unknowingly healed a devil. The church had also kept pressuring his uncle to joining the church to become an exorcist, but Nagato had refused their demands and had sent his nephew to Kuo Academy, where he can continue his education, and it is where Asia has been stationed. So we find our blind hero attempting to get an education and at the same time try to find his blonde friend. And from what he heard from Nagato, Kuo town is devil terrority, with both Gremory and Sitir family claiming the town, but there was also fallen angels in the town. But Naruto couldn't care about either devil or fallen angels. He was aware of the war between the three. He was only interested in finding Asia. While he lost the ability to see, his hearing and smell had increased due to him having to rely on his other senses, but he found out he can see magic, not just plain but all types of magic, including demonic, angelic, yokai, chakra, and fallen angelic. In most cases it wouldn't be too hard to locate her, but with so many devils and fallen angels within the city it was hard to get a read on her, so he had to search where the fallen angels might be. Luckily for Naruto, his uncle had labeled Naruto's apartment with braille so that he could find what's in his house. The young blonde can be seen at the table eating a bowl of cereal and orange juice. He then sighs as he drinks the juice. I've been here for 1 month already and I still haven't been able to find her. The fallen angels are here. I just need to find out where they are. Once I find their hideout, I find Asia. And I need to hurry up. I am sure they want her Sarst gear, said Naruto. He then goes back to eating. If you wish to save the girl, then you better hurry and pick up the pace. I am sure I don't need to remind you what happens to those who have their Sarst gears removed. said Hades. Just like Asia and Nagato, he too awakened a Sarst gear called Titan Cord. His Sarst gear is an ancient royal purple pitchfork. Inside of the weapon is the spirit of Hades, god of the underworld. The blind teenager knew what Hades was saying was true, and there's no way he's going to let his best friend die. I know, but I am aware of the devils. They too would like to have Asia's power, said Naruto with a snarl, directing his anger at the Heaven faction. He was aware because of their strict and demanding nature, and it was the reason why so many angels fell, and because of them branding her a heretic, she was basically open seasons for the devils and fallen angels. She is far too innocent to be a devil, and she isn't aware of how the real world works. She would be taken advantage of by fallen angels, devils, and human. I suggest you find her before a pervert can touch her, especially the red dragon host. That boy is a danger to all females, warned Hades. Naruto grits his teeth at the notion of the pervert touching his blonde friend. He never talked to Issel, and he had no reason to. He was positive the only thing on his mind were breasts, and more breasts. He also found the brunette's voice quite irritating. He had no problems with the people who watch and read porn, but he did not like the ones who purposely peeked on females. Naruto then released a sigh. Yeah, I know. I much rather have her be alive and human than become a devil and be someone's servant, thought Naruto. After he finished eating, he then got his backpack and his cane. He then locks the door and makes his way to the bus stop. It had took the young teenager weeks to remember the layout of Kuo Town, but it also helped that he had a digital watch that was programmed to tell him when the bus will get here and how long it will take, and because of his blindness he had aid that would take him to his classes and give him a braille form of homework. With him sitting on the bus, he can hear various of conversations, some boring while others being idiotic, and because of his good hearing he was able to hear the conversation of Issei and his friends talking about some woman called Jadafire and her breast. He quickly stopped listening to their conversation, not wanting to hear their conversation. He then picks up a conversation of 3 female students. I can't believe what happened to Ria. I mean, Shed seems so lively and always wanting to go on an adventure, said the young girl, wiping away tears that plagued her face. And they some type of bear kill her, but that didn't look like a bear, cried the teen. They're also saying we should NT walk around 8 anymore, said the girl in a saddened tone. The 3 females were unaware of Naruto listening within his mind. Hades hums to himself, you should check this out. It could give you a lead on where the fallen angels might be, and it's not smart to allow a stray devil to roam around. If neither devils are going to kill it, then you must, since they seem to be lax. While it may be weak now, it could grow to be a threat, warned Hades. Naruto was aware that the spirit of the underworld was speaking true. Naruto hums in response, it couldn't help, and they see these attacks has been going on in the forest and park. It'll head towards the forest. It seems like the most logical place where it will be hiding and waiting for its next prey, thought Naruto. Smart move. That does sound like the desirable place where it could be hiding, and who knows how long the stray has been here. The attacks seems to be random, thought Hades. At which Naruto agrees with the Greek god, but the only pattern that the stray has is killing and mauling them, and the bodies are found around 8 or 9. Finding the stray devil should NT be that hard, but I can't help but wondered why they haven't killed them. From what you and Uncle Nagato had told me, the devils wanted the humans to be oblivious of the 3 faction. What are the devils in this town up to, thought Naruto, who was suspicious of the 3 factions. Even the Heaven faction couldn't be trusted. After all, it's their fault. Asia was kicked out of the church and his parents were forced to leave when he was younger. He didn't understand why Nagato didn't allow him to join the church, but now he understands. If you are a nun, priest, or exorcist, your life belongs to the church and you are expected to follow the strict rules and over with no questions. He didn't understand how some people can just follow the church with blind faith. He knew why Asia was so dedicated to the church, and he hates how the church kicked her out easily. And as far as Naruto knew, Asia was the pure person he never met. She's also naive and didn't know anything about the wood. Please be safe, Asia, and any fallen angel or devil harm you in any way, they better pray to whoever their god is, thought Naruto with anger. The mere idea of those black birdies or servants of Satan harming the innocent Asia just pisses him off. His watch then alerts him his stop is coming up. He then grabs hold of his backpack. The blonde rises to his feet and grabs his cane. He then exits out the bus. As he walks through the busy streets filled with other students, he ignores the whispers of the females commenting on how attracted he is. He simply kept walking towards school, not even bothered that the ravenette beauty Akano was staring him. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he sees the devil energy, but this devil's energy was strange. The energy was not only a devil's but a fallen angel's too. Does this mean the person was a fallen angel who was turned into a devil? Wondered Naruto. Naruto comes to a sudden stop. In front of him is a female who appears in her 30s. Her name is Kuriko Yuno. She is Naruto's personal aide. She smiles warmly at the young teenager. Morning, Naruto. Having a good morning, I hope, commented Kuriko. She watches as Naruto nods head. Both of them head towards his class. She then turned towards Naruto. Have you decided which genre you are going to study? Asked the curious brunette. She watches as Naruto nods his head. Yeah. I was thinking of doing my report on either medieval and around the time of the pharaohs. I haven't really decided on which one yet, but I always liked hearing the audio tapes of Egyptian and medieval history. When is the report due again? Asked Naruto. They are due next month, so that should give you plenty time to decide which one to choose, said Kuriko, but that wasn't what plagued his mind. What truly did plague his mind was Asia. He just hoped today would go by fast so he could search for the stray. His eyebrow then twitched in annoyance as he hears the sound of the perverted trio hearing their conversation about Akino's breasts and ass. He always found perverted conversation like these embarrassing and pointless. Can we walk faster? I really don't want to hear them, asked Naruto. Kuriko turned her head towards Issei and his friends, who are practically yelling about the Ravenette's busty body. The three perverted kids weren't even bothered by every female giving him a deadly glare. She then turned back to Naruto and noticed his uncomfortable facial expression. Sure, let's go, said Kuriko. The two then began walk faster for Naruto. The day went on like it normally went on. He had just returned from lunch. Now back in his painting class, everyone is cleaning everything up except for the blonde can be seen sitting in his chair staring in space with an unfocused expression on his face. He then hears the sound of the door opening. Everyone turns to see Sona Sitri, the president, and Tsubaki, the vice president. Sona is a young bespectacled woman with a slim figure, black hair styled in a short bob cut, and violet eyes. She mostly dressed in a Kuo Academy girls' school uniform. Tsubaki is a young bespectacled woman with long straight black hair that extends all the way down to her knees, with split bangs and heterochromic eyes, with a violet left eye and a light brown right eye. In addition to wearing the Kuo Academy girls' school uniform, she also wears blue, semi-rimmed glasses with square lenses. Sona, who has her strict expression, watches as every student helps to clean up the classroom. Her eyes then found themselves staring directly at Naruto, who sitting in his seat. Her purple eyes narrowed at him. She then raised her glasses. Tsubaki watches as Sona walks towards Naruto. With him seeing the devil energy from Sona, he turned his head and his face is staring at Sona's chest. Not knowing he's blind, she glares at him thinking he's just a hopeless pervert. What do you think you're doing? Why aren't you helping, and could you not stare at my chest? It is unbecoming of a proper student of Kuo Academy, said Sona in a scolding tone with a hand on her hip with a heated glare. Damn that Uzumaki Teme having Sona-sama breasts right in his face, muttered a male student. Another bites their thumb in frustration. Curse you, Uzumaki, mumbled a jealous male student. Another student has a downcast expression. Why couldn't that be me? Muttered a boy. Punish me, Sona-sama, exclaimed a student. Step on me, exclaimed a male student who is bowing to her. Sona ignores the men in the class and has her attention on Naruto. Can you please not stare at my chest? It is unbecoming of someone who will one day be a citizen of the real world. If you wish to be a proper citizen, then you must stop with these immoral acts, lectured Sona. She watches as the boy gains a blush on his face. Please tell me he's not into being punished. This school already has enough people who enjoys BDSM, thought Sona. This had also made her think of Akano Himejima, who's a major sadist. But in actuality he was blushing in embarrassment. The idea of him accidentally staring at a woman's breasts had always made him feel embarrassed. He then faces his head down. I am not staring, mumbled Naruto in a shy tone. Hearing Naruto act so shy had causes various of the females to squeal in delight. Sona narrowed her eyes at him. There is no point at trying to lie. You might as well just confess now, declared Sona with a hardened glare. Why's she's bullying Naruto-sama? Asks a female student. Another girl looks at Naruto with sympathy. Poor Naruto, said a female, causing Sona to roll her eyes at the females. Sona-sama does know he can't see, right? Questioned the young girl. This had caught Sona a rift that was not what she was expecting. Kuriko then walks over to Sona. Naruto is telling the truth, he wasn't staring, said Kuriko. She then points to the cane next to him. Sona looks at the cane and she quickly realized it wasn't a walking cane but a cane that blind people use. This had caught Sona a rift that was not what she was expecting. Kuriko then walks over to Sona. Naruto is telling the truth, he wasn't staring, said Kuriko. She then points to the cane next to him. Sona looks at the cane and she quickly realized it wasn't a walking cane but a cane that blind people use. Sona suddenly feels horrible that she scolded someone who is blind, and it was in a class full of students who had watched her. The bows her head and completely forgetting he can't see. I am so sorry, Uzumaki Teme, I did not know you were disabled. If there's anything I can do to make up for my failure, please tell me, exclaimed whose cheeks are pink with embarrassment. You don't have to, it's not a big deal, this isn't the first time, said Naruto. He had lost count at the people who didn't know he was blind. It was a simple mistake. I simply cannot ignore this. I insist that you allow me to fix this unforgettable mistake. Do you like tea? Asked Sona, staring at his face. Her eyes stare at his unfocused blue eyes. She then stare at his stuffed whiskers. She found them quite strange. They didn't appear to be scars, but they appear to be birthmarks, which she finds strange. Naruto rubs the back of his neck in a nervous "I prefer coffee, actually tea makes me sleepy," said Naruto. Sona then places her hand on her hip. "Have you been to a coffee shop before?" asked Sona. No, said Naruto. "Then it's settled," stated Sona. What's settled?" asks a confused Naruto. "Tomorrow we will meet at school at 12 and I will personally treat you to coffee," said Sona. She then grabs his phone and puts her number into his phone. She then places it back on his desk. "I look forward for tomorrow's activity. I am truly sorry for causing you trouble, Tsubaki. Let's go," said Sona, who exits out of the room, and she's not even concerned for the eyes staring at her with a shocked expression. "Wait, did she just ask me out?" wondered Naruto, whose face had become crimson red. He then hears a loud thud. "Did someone fell?" asked Naruto. One of the male students starts to pound his fist on the ground. "Damn you, Uzumaki. It's not fair, all the girls like you," exclaimed the male student. "God, I wish I was that blonde bastard," cried the male. "The baka didn't do anything and he got a date with Sona-sama," cried the student. One of the male students invade his person space. How can some baka like you can get the beautiful president while we're hopelessly single?" exclaimed the male, who began to shake Naruto. Naruto raised an eyebrow at him. "Is she really as beautiful as everyone makes her out to be?" asked Naruto. "Yes, of course she is. The only ones more beautiful than her is Ria-sama and Akeno-sama. What are you, stupid and blind?" yelled the male. Naruto has a deadpan expression. The student then mutters and apologizes. "Why should I care about how beautiful or ugly she is? Shouldn't the only thing that matters is what kind of person she is?" asked Naruto. Suddenly the hole is filled with a loud "ah." Later the day, Naruto can be seen walking down the street heading towards the forest. As he gets closer and closer, he's able to see the magic energy of the stray devil. "So you were dating the Sitir devil, huh?" mocked Hades. Naruto rolled his eyes at the Greek spirit. "We're not going out. I don't even know who she is besides the heir of the Sitir clan, and I still have no idea how I got dragged into being her date," complained Naruto. He still wasn't sure how it happened, but before his mind can linger on the concept of him and Sona going on a date, he shakes off the thought. "I can't be wondering about that. My main focus is finding the stray and have it tell me everything," thought Naruto as the blonde arrived at the forest. He ignores the caution tape. His eyes narrowed. "I know you're here. I have questions and you are going to answer them," declared Naruto in a confident tone. He watches as the stray jumps down. The stray has a lower body of a spider and scorpion. The top half of the stray is a female who had 6 arms and 6 crimson color eyes. "Well, I suppose you not having the ability to see is a good thing. This stray is an ugly creature," commented Hades, but Naruto didn't care what she looked like. He wasn't surprised that her body would take a drastic turn. He's heard that would open once a devil becomes a stray and they'll lose their sanity. The blonde then summons Titan Cord. A royal purple pitchfork is summoned into his hand. The pointed tips of the Sarst gear are black as obsidian. It also has a black rusted spiked chain wrapped around itself. The stray devil grinned at Naruto in a sadist manner. "New prey and he has a Sarst gear," said the stray, who liked her lips in a perverted fashion. "Now just stay still, this'll be over real soon," grinned the stray. Her arm then transforms into a scorpion arm. She then brings her arm down, but Naruto drops to the ground. He then jumps to side, avoiding the claw. She then spits out acid from her mouth, but Naruto backflips away. She then grits her teeth in frustration. "Stay still, damn it," snarled the stray devil. She then released a wide blast of acid at Naruto. Naruto holds his Titan Cord tightly. "Black Canyon, Baraku Canyon," said Naruto. He twirls it around and a huge energy of darkness is summoned. The darkness swallows the acid. He then fires a black of black energy cutting into her cheek. This had enraged her. She then slams her arm, but Naruto stabs his Sarst gear into her arm. He then uses the arm as a springboard and jumps up high in the air and stabs her in the shoulder. He then pushes himself off of her and pointed his pitchfork at her. Suddenly several of chains pierced right through her body. She screams in pain. "It's no use, these chains restrict the victim from moving." "Now I have some questions," stated Naruto. She snarls at him in anger. "Fuck you," roared the devil in fury. Each of the chains then began to glow brightly. Suddenly the devil's body comes crashing down. The chains then cut through her leg as if it was a buzzsaw. "Now shall we try that again? Where are the fallen angels located? And don't even think about lying. I should tell you what will happen," said Naruto in a dark tone. He then commands the chains to wrap around her body. "All I know is they are hiding in the abandoned church. They seem to be looking for someone, probably someone like you. That's all I know. I swear. Now please let me go," pleads the devil, but something caught the attention of the devil's eyes, and that was Naruto's eyes. They seemed to be unfocused. "Wait, is this brat blind? Did I really got defeated by someone who can't see?" thought the stray. She then released a painful scream as each of her limbs were severed. Naruto then points his Titan Cord. "Who said I would let you live?" wondered Naruto. Black energy then obliterated her upper torso, leaving nothing but the lower half of her body. "Do you know where this church?" Asked Hades. Naruto shook his head negativity, causing Hades to sweat drop at his host. But I believe the church is where the negative angelic energy is coming from. If I follow it then I find Asia, but I need to do fast before those bastards take her Sarst gear, commented Naruto, who begins to walk away from the dead corpse. Not only that, but it would be unwise to go now. Luckily for you they have no interest in due to the fact that perverted classmate of yours also has one. Said Hades. While he was just as strong as the red dragon, he honestly prefer the perverted boy be the target over his host, and the Greek god knew if the brunette were to die he won't be missed. I say wait until one of the fallen angels makes themselves known and persuade them. It also seems like they aren't in a real hurry to obtain Asia's Sarst gear or killing Issei while they are focused on the two. You catch them by surprise and get your friend, suggested Hades. He knew the fallen angels and devils were idiots to overlook his host, but if they want that pathetic human they can have him just like his host. He wanted nothing to do with the devils. Naruto release a sigh. He then runs his hand through his blonde hair. And I have a date with Sona. I am still not sure how I got a date with her. I am sure there's plenty of better guys, thought Naruto. Are you so sure about that? You do go to Kuo Academy and there are a lot of perverts at your school? Said Hades in a deadpan expression. While there were makes that went to Kuo Academy, but there are far more perverts at the school. He's just happy he doesn't have any classes with the perverted trio. He's better sure he couldn't stand hearing them talk about how badly they wanted to fuck Asa Akira, Ava Divine, and Skin Diamond. He wasn't sure who they were, but he honestly couldn't really care who they are. The only that mattered to him was finding Asia and killing the fallen angels who had manipulated her. The next day Naruto can be seen wearing a burnt orange short sleeve shirt, black Levi jeans, and black shoes. The blonde had just arrived at Kuo Academy, but the blonde couldn't help but to be nervous. He had fought stray devils and many creatures who wanted to eat him, and each time he faced these monsters he did so without a shred of fear, but the concept of going on a date had frightened the young teen. Great, my legs are shivering. God, this sucks. I've gone up against some dangerous creatures, but going on a date with Sona-san, that's what has my legs shaking, groaned Naruto with a low growl. Hades then let out a low chuckle, at which Naruto's eyebrow begins to twitch. I find that quite humorous. I mean, you can't even see Sona. You have no idea what she looks like, so you don't even know if she's as beautiful as she is or ugly, commented Hades. Aren't you going to tell me what she looks like? Asked Naruto in a deadpan tone. He listens as Hades begins to hums to himself. No, said Hades. This causes Naruto to release a sigh at having to have to deal with Hades' asshole attitude. He then becomes very nervous as he senses Sona's devil energy. Instead of wearing her school uniform, she wears a black sleeve their shirt, she wears skinny blue jeans that are on her hips, and she wears black Vans. To anyone else they would marvel at the beautiful Sona. The Ravenette smiles at Naruto. Hey Naruto, I see you got here. Were you waiting long? Exclaimed Sona. Naruto simply shook his head negativity. No, I've been here for about 4 minutes, said Naruto. Sona smiles at him. The Ravenette couldn't help but wondered who helped the blonde choose the clothes. He looked quite appealing to her. You look nice, Naruto-san, said Sona with a smile. Naruto gains a nervous blush. Thank you. So, what's this coffee place called? Asks a curious Naruto. It's called Toka's Coffee Shop, for it's a little small, but the coffee is honestly worth it, said Sona. She then grabs hold of his hand, not even minding the fact that his face is atomic red. She then drags a blushing Naruto to the bus stop. She then turned towards Naruto with a smile. Are you feeling well? Asked Sona. Naruto nods his head. Yeah. I am just a little nervous. I've never had been out with a girl, commented Naruto. Sona then realizes her holding his hand is making him nervous. Her purple eyes stare at him with interest. I wonder, is he nervous around other females or is he just shy around people he had never met? Thought Sona with a curious look. Naruto-san, I was wondering, who do you live with? Asked Sona. I live alone, said Naruto, shocking the beautiful Ravenette, but I video chat my uncle and he told me what to wear, but he's thinking about moving in since he doesn't like the idea of me living alone, said Naruto. He hears as she release a sigh of relief. He wasn't sure why, but he felt like the female next to him was quite the serious type and not like any of their classmates, and he knew it didn't have to do with her devil status but who she is as a person. Yeah. Living on Mai is challenging. It would be interesting to have someone help me, said Naruto with a smile. He then hears the bus approaching. Both enters the bus and walk towards the back. As they sit down, Sona takes out her phone and puts one of the headphones in his ear. What's that? Asked Naruto. It's my headphone. I want to know what you think. Asked Sona before he can ask her. The music would then begins to play. She watches as his foot begins to tap. She smiles at him with a bright smile. I take it you like it? Asked Sona. She watches as he nods his head. His name is Anderson .Paak. I like his music. I think it's relaxing. Naruto smiles at her. Yeah, I do like it, said Naruto with a smile. He then feels someone taps on his shoulder. He turns around and a young girl is staring at him. Your girlfriend is pretty, said a female child, causing Naruto and Sona to blush. The mother turns towards Sona with a small smile on her face. Sorry for that. Apologize the mother. It's fine. Shush, she was just curious, stuttered Sona with a scarlet blush. She didn't why it made her blush. She was thankful her sister Seraphol wasn't here. She would probably die from embarrassment, but she couldn't deny that Naruto was cute. Thanks for watching.